Good day, everyone. Now we're going to discuss the story Footnote to Youth using a story map. Here is the story map, containing the title, setting, characters, and plot of the story. And now, let us begin to discuss the title of the story. The title of our story is Footnote to Youth. It is a short story that was written and produced by Jose Garcia Villa in 1933. A fun fact about our story is that it was the first fictional book written by a Filipino author that was published by a major America-based press. The story mainly revolves around the main character, a young man named Dodong, who, despite his parents' protests, decides to marry young. The story follows his journey as he ventures into married and family life, showcasing all of his ups as well as his downs. Let's proceed to the setting of the story.
First, let us begin with our story setting. Although it isn't explicitly stated, we can safely assume that the events of this book took place in a rural area within the Philippines. As it was mentioned that the main characters work as farmers. Additionally, the time period of this story was also not provided. So based solely on the societal values and the lifestyle of our characters, we assume that it happened somewhere around the early 20th century.
Now, after discussing the setting, we're going to talk about the characters of our story.
Dodong is the main protagonist of our story. As a young impulsive teenager, he decides to marry early, only to face the harsh realities of adult responsibilities and regrets. His character embodies the representation of long-term consequences due to the youthful recklessness and rash decisions.
Next up, we have our second main character, Tiang. She is first introduced in the story as Dodong's lover and eventually his wife. Throughout the progression of the story, we witness how she struggled to cope with the motherhood at a young age and how it took a heavy toll on her, both mentally and physically.
Now, let us get to know the parents of our protagonist, starting with his father. Like Dodong himself, his father also married Dodong's mother at a young age, thus showing a sort of generational pattern within their family. At first, he tried to discourage Dodong from marrying so early, but eventually gave in due to the love he felt for his son.
Next up, we have Dodong's mother. Despite being a fairly minor character, we see how she wholeheartedly supported her son's decision to marry Tiang. This likely stems from the fact that she herself was married at a young age.
Now, we have Dodong and Tiang's firstborn son and eldest child, Blas. Like his father, he also seeks his parents' permission to marry his lover at an extremely early age, much to his father's disappointment. His decision to marry young sadly reflects the poor choices that were made by those who came before him.
Moving on, we have another minor character who, despite his short appearance, still added depth to the story. We have Tiang's past suitor, Lucio. His character represents an alternative path that Tiang could have taken, highlighting her regrets and creating scenarios of what could have been.
Finally, the plot of the story contains the sequence of main events in this tale.
It was sunset, and Dodong was feeding the carabao. As he was doing so, he was thinking of whether he should finally tell his father that he wants to marry Tiang.
Dodong finally asked his father for permission to marry Tiang. His father, a bit angered, asked him if he must continue as his father married his mother at an early age. But soon after, his father was okay with it. Months later, and Tiang is finally giving birth to Dodong's first child. They named him Blas. Blas was not their only child. Tiang would soon give birth to many more, and because of this, Dodong got angry with himself sometimes. The successive childbirth and household chores took a toll on Tiang's body as she was shapeless and thin. Although she loves Dodong, she feels a bit of regret marrying Dodong at a young age and wonder what would happen if she married Lucio, another suitor of hers.
When Blas was finally 18, he came home nervous and restless. Then Blas finally asked his father, Dodong, if he could marry Tona. Blas was very determined to marry Tona.
Dodong was uncertain. He did not want his son to marry too early because he didn't want his son to suffer like he did. Dodong asked his son if he must marry, but soon after allowed Blas to marry Tona because he believes that what his son is experiencing is simply the call of youthful recklessness.
Rashness is what defines youth. This is the stage where we feel adventurous and find excitement in things we haven't explored before. It is impossible to remove the impulsive nature of youth, because this is the time when they are developing mentally and emotionally. In times like this, the young need proper guidance from adults, whether from a guardian or parents. If such guidance cannot be found, another alternative is education. We can achieve mental maturity and learn to think logically and rationally through proper education.
And with that, we bring our presentation to a close. Our exploration of Footnote to Youth has truly revealed the timeless complexities of youth, love, consequences, and responsibilities. We implore you to reflect upon the perpetual themes and profound insights provided by the story. From the impulsive decisions of youth to the weight of adult responsibilities, Jose Garcia Villa's narrative resonates with the truths about the human experience that transcend time and culture. In the wise words of Oscar Wilde, experience is simply the name we give our mistakes. Dodong's journey is marked by the consequences of his impulsive decisions, but through his experiences, he gains wisdom and understanding. Like the quote suggests, Dodong's mistakes became valuable lessons that shaped his growth and perspective on life. We hope this presentation has sparked thought and conversation about the intricacies of life, the consequences of our choices, and the journey towards maturity and wisdom. Thank you for joining us on this exploration, and may Dodong's journey continue to inspire reflection and growth in your own lives.